Get those Cybermen out.
What's up, guys? Sam from the Cybermen here. I apologize. I am sick as a dog. I don't have COVID. I've been tested. It's negative. I just have some kind of flu or cold. And it's keeping me in bed. But I thought I'd come and record an intro. This video, I don't have to do much speaking because Dylan is doing a deck profile. So this is Dylan Furey's Bulma, Undefeated Bulma deck profile. Really cool deck. I came against it. He beat me hands down with this deck. It's very good. So I hope you enjoy that. I'm going to take a break from videos until I'm better. I need to just lie in bed and relax and get over this whatever the hell I'm infected with. So I hope you enjoy this, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what you'd like to see in the comments in terms of upcoming meta stuff and upcoming product. I would love to show off some games with new decks with proxies and things like that. So let us know what you'd like to see and I'll get those made and maybe start doing that in the new year. Cheers, guys.
Hey guys, doing the Bulma deck profile here. She's been great for me the last two locals. I've gone undefeated both times for the wins. Played some awesome matches, like a lot of the great meta at the moment. Green Go tanks, yellow Go tanks, Haruta gone. I think Hit Skillless has been there for me. It's been doing fantastic. So making a deck profile on how well she's been going. She's been around since set 8, kind of getting better with each set, to be honest, and set 11 she's actually pretty strong at the moment, doing a lot of different things, but she's holding her own against the current meta, which I think is great. She's definitely kind of getting out there with a bit of a control leader, which is crazy for Red. She really allows you to kind of sit back, think about other players' decks, think about what they're going to be playing, and try and play around it as best you can. She's up there with my favorite leaders of A21 Starter and Cooler Mill. So kind of, I like those kind of control decks where you have to sit back and really think and play around other people's decks. She's not gonna, kill you turn 2 and call it GG if you didn't draw enough cards or draw the one card that's gonna save you. So she's fantastic. Her permanent is fantastic. All red and yellow Saiyan and Earthling cards in your battle area game blocker. That's going to provide an amazing wall of defense. And really interesting. A lot of people sometimes forget that it's Saiyan and Earthling, but it's pretty nice to remind them when you get to tap a blocker and make sure that triple strike isn't going through or whatever. She's a draw 1 once per turn, so you don't really have to worry about the swing with her. And untap 2 leader at 4, which is honestly with this deck really, really nice. It kind of provides that little bit of extra balance. Awakening, practically the exact same, except now you draw 2 cards. I will say, in some crazy cases, I have nearly decked myself out with her, just because I'm drawing absolutely insane. But the 10k is very nice. It does allow you to start swinging into some kind of pesky battle cards you don't really want there. And to be honest, with the amount of cards you draw, you don't mind swinging into leader with her because you can combo above pretty quickly. But she's fantastic. Love her. Let's get into the meat. So I play a lot of 3 of things in this deck. I find because of the amount that you get to draw with Bulma, you really only need to see 1 or 2 of the cards that are in here. Copies, if you started seeing 3 or even 4, you'd just be bricking hard and you'd just be wasting them for their potential. She's fantastic. Again, negate, play, blocker. Most time if I see a turn 1 or 2, she goes into energy. I love seeing a turn 3, 4, 5 or 6, which really isn't uncommon with Bulma. I think I average around turn 5 or 6, win or lose. Luckily recently win, and I have gone up to turns 9 and 10 with her. But Videl for 3s, great start. I play 3 Mai's. I do cop a lot for playing this because obviously it's a nice big silver bullet for blue. It is probably one of the most overpowered, uncommon cards we're ever going to see. But I don't play it for the kill build blue, essentially. I love it because she replaces herself with the draw 1 and she's almost a guaranteed blocker. So you play her on board and she just sits there and they're really not going to waste a card to get rid of her because of barrier over a blocker, which is great. I was playing a friend last Thursday who's a fantastic yellow Go tanks player, and I got to turn 3 and had no real negates in hand, nothing to start my Gogeta chain, and he was just steamrolling through. I managed to have all 3 in hand, played all 3, and managed to stop 3 attacks with blocks and replace them, which was very useful. Now, fantastic card in Bulma. For one, a lot of the big boys that I play, it doesn't really matter if they get returned to hand from blue. So the Trunks doesn't bother me too much. But it can be annoying. So playing 1 for Crown of Retribution can either remove it to not slow me down a little bit, so sorry, whether they have a blue Trunks or not, or hit some super combos, especially there's a Master Suit that's going to tap my blockers. It's fantastic to get in the drop, and then he becomes a blocker, which is even better. I run 4 Nappers. I love that I can play him and then have him as a blocker, or then use him as a super combo again. I have used him as a blocker for many times, but he's a very enticing card. So when I have him on board, people focus on him a lot, which is great because I don't want people to smack me in the face and take my life. So if they want to swing into him or waste skills to get rid of him, I'm happy with that. I'm not too fussed. But having him does allow me to bring out this bad boy. This is great in Bulma 2, 20k double strike blocker, which is amazing. He's more of your turn 1, turn 2 play. I love having him on board turn 1, turn 2, especially when people are playing things like the Demigra Unison, the Zeno Unison, and like what I hate at the moment is the Vegeta Green Unison played in Green Go tanks. That thing scares the hell out of me. So they kind of have him on really early to start keeping him down is great. I tend to play, like, I'm happy to leave opponents' life at 5, 6, or 7 if they can't self-awaken. So I'm happy just to swing a lot of my guys in keeping Unisons and battle cards down, because my view is if they have nothing to swing with, they can't beat me. Whereas I'm happy to just wait and bide my time to eventually burn their life out or attack them with an overwhelming board. This guy is insane in this deck. I actually think he is best placed in Bulma at the moment. Yes, you can play him in Frieza Prison, potentially Broly, but you would not be tapping 4 and -4 in Red Broly swap with this guy. In Bulma, he has won me several games. Turn 3, if I see him, he gets played out immediately. A 19k critical dual attack is absurd, and it is a very enticing card. I love playing enticing cards that make my opponent think, should I attack this? Should I put a lot of effort into getting rid of this instead of attacking my leader? It's my favorite. The more I can kind of make bad decisions, I can play around that. As long as I don't have helmet on to just attack my leader the whole time, I can defend that. But when I have other things to make him think, it's quite nice. I have several times removed 4 and tapped 4 and then tapped 3, 4, or 5 extra energy to burn. It's absurd, and it's this. Yeah, I would probably consider going to 3, but there's times where I see him and he goes straight into energy, and there's times where I need him and he gets played immediately. It's very 50-50 at the moment. Okay. The other Unison I play 2 of, Mystic Jiren. He's the MVP of my Cooler Mill deck. I love this card. This is probably the best red Unison that we have at the moment before going into set 12 with all the Rejuvenate stuff. Tap 3, turn 3 again. I'll play him before my Gogeta chain for reasons I'll go into in a minute. Add 1 marker, fantastic. Gives him double strike, fantastic. Allows me to take apart other people's Unisons, or if I'm really trying to pull in some pressure, attack the leader. The fact that he hits a battle card or Unison for 10,000 when they come in is ridiculous. There's nothing more satisfying than people forget about him and play a Demigra that's I think 5k for 1, and on play I hit him for 10, remove that marker, and they've just wasted the Unison card. Or even Zeno, it just keeps him under a little bit more control. He comes in for 2, so most people tap. I hit him 1, takes him down to 1 marker. They can only plus up to 3. Come to my turn, I can hit him with a double strike and potentially with Bulma. See you later, Zeno. Fantastic card. When he's it's not uncommon for me to get to 10 or 12 markers with this guy with a Gogeta chain. So the -3 to hit a battle card for 25k, ignoring barrier, is insane. And it allows me obviously to play my counterplays. I feel very protected and very confident having him on board with a lot of markers. He holds up my defense very nicely. Obviously play 4 Yamchas. him in conjunction with Jiren can get rid of a lot of big boys very quickly. The Raiders War Cry and a lot of other things played from deck, a lot of skillless and hit and whatnot, between Jiren and then him and then potentially my Gogetas, they do not last long at all. So I'm sure you can see at the moment, obviously he's a blocker, but I'm sure you can see at the moment, I really don't like my opponent having battle cards. I love for them to tap their energy. I love for them to fill their board, and I'll just wipe it and let them start again while I'm just stacking energy and cards in my hand as best as I can. I played 2 Goku. I probably wouldn't play 3. Most of the time he gets played in energy, but he is key, again, towards keeping that board clear, and he does allow me to pull off one of my old win cons, which I've done a lot, which is tap 3, clear the entire board, play this other card. But he's also a 15k blocker, so he's pretty solid. The 15k is nice early on. Okay, starting to head into the chain, I play 7 total Vegeta. 4 of the promos, which are fantastic. It essentially lets you replace itself. Yes, you have to drop another card. There's very few times I haven't had the 6-drop Gogeta in hand, and he's helped me find it pretty quickly, which is very nice. I play 2 of these because obviously they're little 1-drop blockers if I need them, but also, again, if for whatever reason I'm missing some Gokus, they can go find them for me. There's been a few Hail Marys where I've played him, and if I don't hit the Goku, I'm pretty much screwed. Top 3 cards isn't a lot in Bulma. I think this deck runs at 58. So playing him to find my Goku is always kind of like, put him at the bottom of the deck. This is fantastic. I only used his ability. I think he's only been in my my deck for 1 locals, and I used his ability twice to find the piece that I need, and then even used him for the going up into the 5-drop. But yeah, 7. And then 7 Gokus. I only have 2 of the promos. I would run probably 3 or 4 of them because they are insane. Essentially, so he's the same as the other Frieza. Vegeta. Essentially why I love him is if I can get to turn 3 with 5 life, he allows me to replace himself. So play, grab a life, puts me in Awakening. The Gogeta then replaces itself from being played, and then the Vegeta you play. So you basically allowed yourself to awaken, gotten 5k on board that's smashed everything for -15, which then potentially goes into the 6-drop if you have it. Using the Vegeta, you almost will always have it. And then, you replace all the cards. So it's draw for turn, play for energy, draw off leader, replace all cards that you play, awaken for 2 energy, draw 2 more off the Bulma. So you've just stacked your hand and now have an insane card on the board that's ready to defend you like crazy, or go into the leader. Those guys allow you obviously to go into the 5-drop. The best thing about him is deflect. He gets on the board, which is very nice. Replaces itself, tap 3. You want the Awakening this turn, so you at least have 2 energy to defend with. Next, his little wipe 15 off the entire board is particularly nice too. If that doesn't clear everything, the Jiren will potentially help, or even heading straight into this guy. This is potentially one of my favorite cards. I am Team Gogeta over Vegeta by an absolute mile. He's far better. But this guy, in my opinion, being as amazing as he is, I think needs unique, just like the 6-drop Red Broly. He does a lot. Yes, he has a restriction that you can't play any battle cards for the remainder of the turn, but he's so strong. A 35k double strike that you could potentially neg the leader 20k, so it becomes a 55k double strike if it goes through, is nuts. And then on defensive step, he can't be KO'd, so I use him for blockers all the time. No one swings into him unless they want to try and neg him, but negging 35k is absurd. And then the fact that he lets you hit 20k off anything is ridiculous. You can keep markers down off Unisons. You can just remove battle cards, especially if they've played it off Jiren. Jiren hits him for 10, you hit him for 20. He can just stop a leader attack. So, Gohan swings in, you hit him for 20, even though they're going up for 15. It doesn't particularly matter. There's been times I've had 2 of him on board plus my SCR, and it's just like, it's game over. I think he needs unique. If they're going to give the Broly 35k double strike crit, with nothing else apart from on play, I think you need to give him unique. Plus, him and the 5-drop between playing him in 1 turn pumps your Unison up 3 markers. So the King Piccolo potentially goes to 6, so in kill range for burn. The Jiren just gets stacked up for even more defense on on his -3. It's insane. But he can get hit by Warp, and he can get negged. So I play 3 of these guys, and this has helped me more times than I can count. You want to keep the Gogeta on board because you can't play anything for the remainder of the turn. So the next turn after, you're either playing your SCR, or you're playing a second mind, or you're playing the A-drop Gogeta, which I'll go into in a sec. So you want him on board. Playing this guy almost guarantees it. Yes, they can, play cards to get around him, ignore barrier and whatnot, but most of the time that keeps it pretty solid. I've played a few games recently, both in the finals, the yellow Go tanks and the green Go tanks, and this guy helped me particularly. Funny enough, against the yellow Go tanks, the 7-drop still got rid of him, but what I like about this card is there's been times where I was playing Gohan or Black Broly, and I've had no negates in hand, and I've got a bunch of one drops that I've just played for, played 3 or 4 of them off my energy, and then just smacked this down to give them all barrier, so guaranteed blockers almost for the next turn. So Black Broly's, brought in all their attacks, swung, block, and I've managed to survive, gotten to turn 4, played out my big boys, and that's been the end of game. This is easily the best negate for this deck. The fact that I can negate the attack and then untap one of my big guys to then block with it is insane. If you have 2 of these in hand with 2 energy and a bunch of big guys on board, they are not getting through that turn. It's just not happening. I think every Bulma deck should be running at least 3 of these, because at worst they just become a negate, but you'll almost always have something on board to untap and just use as another blocker, which is awesome. 2 Violent Rays, particularly for only really Go Tanks decks or Black Broly decks. I've never ever used the 20 or more for Unison. I'm sure that's probably going to come about in the next set. And then sometimes I've just used it for, it's just negate when I haven't ditched a card. I do not like running Topo in this deck one bit. The fact that you reduce it to 2 means with the current meta it gets hit too much, so you don't get to play him on board, you don't get his effect, and then you're ditching another card, and it was just a negate. And I would rather run all of my other negates that are actually going to guarantee do something than hoping Topo goes through. It's just I don't see the point of it. I run 1 Flight of the Grand Eagle. Sometimes I just tap 1 and he just gets my Bulma out of shape. Make sure that she's defended. Sometimes I have fully tapped energy, fully tapped board, and he's about to save my bacon. I was playing a mate who's again I was mentioning fantastic yellow Go Tanks player, and he tapped my last 2 energy on my turn, and I was freaking out because I had a full board tapped and I had full energy. I didn't know if I was going to be able to survive. I did have my gear in Unison, which was fantastic, but I had one of these guys sitting in hand just in case, and I'm happy to throw 10k off my arrival and 10k off my 6-drop because they're going to stay. And again, it entices the player to then think, should I swing into the arrival double strike to make sure it's on my turn? Again, causing that enticement from the player to think, do I go for life? Do I go for battle cards? First win con essentially. He goes particularly well with this deck because I try and keep all of the battle cards down. I don't want them there. It takes too long to deal with them sometimes. So I play the 3-drop Goku, wipes the entire board, smack this on top of my 6-drop, goes for gold. I think it's a fantastic card and should be played with this chain going ahead. Again, that playing them plus the 6-drop gives total 6 targets for this guy. So either 4 of my 6 drops or 2 of these 8 drops. Really great card. I bought several boxes trying to chase this guy and couldn't quite get him because he's so great. I run him in my Broly swap deck. I run him in my Bulma deck. He's absolutely amazing. And I think anytime I've played him, I've actually won that turn with him. But don't use him all that often, despite having a lot of fun with him. And another win con. We all know what this guy does. Basically, having a board stacked with 30k double strike, 35k double strikes that can still neg, or even just a board of 15ks with a fat hand. I smack him down. I'm going for game pretty quick. And overall, fantastic deck. I think she plays really well. There is definitely some decks that she just completely shuts off, and it is in the game. But I would say for the most part, especially in this current meta, she doesn't just topple over any of the big decks. Every match I've had against good players at my locals, it's been tough every single time. She hasn't just dominated like Black Broly does or Gohan does or any of those turn to go for kill helmet decks, which is why I love her. It creates a really fun game, really fun match, and means that we all come back looking for more. That's deck profile, guys. Hope you guys have fun with it playing at your own locals, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe, tell your friends, share the video, comment down below, and I'll try to reply to everyone. We have now got a store on our website for all Australian residents. So jump on to www.thecybermen.com/shop and you can grab your pre-orders for set 12, pre-orders for set 13, and a bunch of other fun stuff, including custom mats and things like that. We'll be putting some merch up there as well at some point in the next month or so. So look out for that. Again, thanks for watching.